Europe has a massive problem, and it's been quietly growing for over 20 years. Because back in 2002, the EU and the United States were almost neck and neck economically. But today, the gap in GDP has doubled from around 15% to almost 30%. And what makes it worse, there's more European people. We have a bigger European market, yet the two trajectories are super different. And last year, finally, someone, Mario Draghi in this case, basically said the quiet part out loud. Europe is falling behind on innovation, decarbonization, competitiveness, and even security. And unless the EU changes how it works, we simply won't catch up. But to the European Parliament's credit, it has once again tried to change this. They've put forward a fresh package of European reforms, basically saying, if Europe wants to compete with global giants, the EU needs to reform its institutions and its single market. Now, if you're a regular on this channel, you might be thinking, what? Wait, again? Because this is actually the third time the Parliament has called for reform in the last couple of years. The first push was back in 2023. It passed, went to the Council, and then nothing. Then the Parliament passed another reform report last month in October, and once again it went to the Council. And since then, silence. It's super frustrating. So in this video, we're going to unpack the highlights from this newest proposal and then ask whether EU leaders might actually listen this time. Let's get into it. So, what does the European Parliament actually want to change? For this, we need a quick refresher. The EU has three key institutions: the Commission, to propose laws, the Parliament, who amend and votes on laws, and the Council, basically ministers from each EU country that also amend and vote on laws. And the new Parliament report is once again calling for changes to all three of these institutions. Starting with the European Commission, the European Parliament wants to simplify things. Because right now, there's 27 commissioners, including one president, with 26 different portfolios. And if more countries were to join the EU, do we really want 30 plus commissioners with ever more creative job titles? The European Parliament has already suggested a leaner commission in the past, around 15 members, so portfolios actually match real priorities rather than political compromise. Then there's strengthening the European Parliament, which makes sense because the Parliament was the one that proposed these reforms. The Parliament wants to upgrade its powers. Things like the right to propose new laws, which currently only the Commission can do. It also wants stronger investigative powers, and it wants to be on equal footing with the Council in more policy areas. And then there's reforming the Council veto. And this is the big one. Depending on the policy area, the Council either votes by qualified majority voting, QMV, or by unanimity, where any single country can block the whole thing. Foreign policy is the classic example where unanimity is still required, and the veto gets used all the time. Since 2011, Hungary's Viktor Orban has used it 18 times, twice as often as the next country. So Parliament wants more areas to move to QMV, to stop the whole system freezing every time a single government says no. So, these are the changes that the Parliament wants to make in the first part of the report. And to be honest, there's only one way to make them: treaty change. Changing the EU's rulebook so the system actually works better. And there's pretty much only two ways to do this. Option 1, a full-blown convention. This is the big, heavy one, basically Europe's version of rewriting a constitution. National governments, the European Parliament, national parliaments, and the Commission all sit together and negotiate a brand new treaty text for the European Union. But in order to start a convention, EU leaders need unanimity. Every single country must say yes. And the last big example was the Lisbon Treaty, negotiated between 2007 and 2009 after nearly 2 years of back and forth. Then there's option number 2, a simplified treaty change. This is the lighter version. EU leaders agree on a small targeted tweak to the existing treaties, and national parliaments have to approve it. The last time this happened was back in 2011, when the EU added just one sentence to the treaties so it could legally set up the European Stability Mechanism, basically the Eurozone's emergency rescue fund during the debt crisis. You see, sometimes even one sentence can change quite a lot. And this brings us to the second part of the report, making EU governance work where it matters most. And the key point here is that the single market is still only partially completed. There are still so many barriers. In energy, where national markets are still split and interconnections are slow. In labor mobility, qualifications aren't always recognized. People still hit bureaucratic walls. Or capital, investment rules differ. Markets basically stay fragmented. We've made so many videos on this. And finally, transport. Rail, aviation, and even our roads are not fully integrated. And the message in the report is pretty clear. Finish the job, because with enlargement on the horizon, a half-complete single market simply won't work. And as we explained in an earlier video, if the EU actually completed the single market, the economic boost would be so big that it could replace EU's entire trade with the United States. So, that summarizes the report. And it actually passed, in pretty solid numbers. 330 in favor, 273 against, and 38 abstentions. And 79 MEPs didn't bother to show up. If you want to see how each political group voted, you can pause the video now. And if you want to check how your country voted, yes, again, you can pause the video now. Now that the parliament has approved this, what actually happens next? Well, for anyone hoping for EU reform and fewer vetoes, the news isn't great. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. The European Parliament has very little power over treaty change. The real power, as is with so many things in the European Union, sits with the member states, in the European Council. And the Council can simply ignore Parliament's requests. No reply is needed. Just look at the last big treaty in Lisbon. It happened because national leaders wanted it, not because Parliament pushed for it. This is what I think. I've had this YouTube channel for almost 4 years now, and I've reported about European reform, or changing the treaties, in at least, probably 10 videos, if not more. And the European Parliament has actually created 3 reports now in the last couple of years, which had a majority and went to the Council. And the Council has not responded in basically all of those 4 years. Or basically, since the first proposal from the Parliament in 2023. And I'm getting super tired of this. How many more years are we going to go where the Parliament, who represents the European people, proposes something, but our leaders in the Council basically say nothing? I mean, the least they can do is give a response and give us their position on the matter. There simply doesn't seem to be a political will in the Council to push through these reform changes, which I think is a shame and a massive mistake. There are major issues in Europe that can only be fixed with reform. The veto. I don't have to say anything more about this. Constant blockages from Hungary and now even Slovakia and maybe even Czechia in the future. This needs to stop. It's not democratic that small countries can stop the will of so many other countries. The second point is European defense. Every poll in Europe shows Europeans want more defense unity, more working together, even European army. And something like that only works with reform in the EU. And I would have wished a bit more courage from our leaders. Macron is only in power for a couple more years. Merz is also old, and let's be honest, his polls aren't great. So why can't he take some more courage and actually say these things and try to push them through in Europe? And the same goes for the other leaders. So, to finish off on a positive note, this channel will keep reporting about EU reform, and hopefully, one day, with enough of you watching and enough pressure from the Parliament, the Council will finally answer and give us their position. Thank you so much for watching, and this video was powered by the Union of European Federalists, a pan-European organization founded in 1946 to promote a democratic and united Europe. Even Mario Draghi is officially recognized as a European Federalist, having received honorary membership from the Italian section. More about them in the description right below. And if you want to stay up to date on EU reform, you're at the right place. This is our 5th video in this very series, and we'll keep covering every major update as it happens. And if you want to keep this channel alive and produce more content regarding reform, join our Patreon today. It really makes a huge difference. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thank you to our presidents. Jan, Schauke, Kristin, Peter, Alexander, Daniel, Eupedia, HEVD, Kiki, Loxen, Rashid, Stefan, Unite Europe, and Europe. See you in the next video.